Mayim, which means stand. Upon Yakudam, turn to face the east. Oops, Salaki. Pour some wine. Layashala. Now, Amadium, which means rise. Panyakudam, turn to face the east. There's the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. You can find it in Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. Abanawu, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shumka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Tabaa, Ratazaka, Yahweh. It's like it. Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lakam, Kam, Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kabawath Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawati Nawa, Wala'a, Tabiya Nawa, Banasawan, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wahatapara, Lawalamya, Aman. In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. Pray for the Hakak, the power in Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Babu Kashai, the thunder nawa. Hakak, Hakak, Lara Pa'ah, Kal Makala, Wakal Matawa, Hakak, the Hakwim, Hamathium, what's like it. Wakal Matawa, Hakak, Latahar, Hamatazarayim, it's like it. Hamatazarium, Hakak, Lahakwim, Hamathium, Hakak, Arakawat, Hatama'ala, the Garson, Ba'ashim Yahweh Tawad Aman. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it. Pray to bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabayat, Saparium, Ba'ashem Yahweh, Tawad Aman. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, bless us and Yasha'ala in the school. In the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharium, Mayan, Yaba'ah, Azaria, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Warataza. Ayatan Lamawat Ragalka Ayanawam Samarka Hana La'a Yanawam Wala'a Yayasan Shawamaya Sa'ala Yahweh Samarka Yahweh Tazalka Alyad Yamyanka Yawamam Hashamash La'a Yakaka Wayarak Balayala Yahweh Yashamarka Makar Rai Yashamar at the Paska Yahweh Yashamar Tazaatka Wabawaka Maita Wide our long. In English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He when I suffer thy foot to be moved, he that keepeth thee when I slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'ala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew, Al-Lahayim, Al-Damiyah Lakah, Alta Harash, wa Alta Shaqua, Al Kayahana, Awayabika, Yahama Yawan, wa Mashanayika, Sha'awa Ra'ash, Al Ibaka, Yawayamwa, Sawa, Waya, Taya Zawa, Alta Pawanyika, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanaka Yadam, Magalia, Wala Yazaka, Shamya Sha'ala, Iwa, Kaya, Nawa Itazawa, Lab, Yakharwa, Ayika, Barya, Yakarathwa, Ahalia, Adawam, Waya Shemaya Alayam, Mawaba, Wahagari, Gabal, Wamawan, Wamalak, Parashat Am Yeshabia, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Haywa, Zarwai, Labanya Lawa, Salah, Aisha Laham, Kamadian, Kasiyah Sara'at, Kayabian, Banakal, Koyaswan, Nasamadwa, Bayan Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, Ladam, Shaitama, Nadaya Mawa, Kaira, Wakizaba, Wakizaba, Wakizalmanai, Kal Nasa Kamwa, Asha, Amarwa, Nairasha, Lanawa, Ah, Nawa, Alahim, Alahaya, Shaitamwa, Kagagala, Kaquats, Lapanya Raka, like Lapanya Raka, Kaats, Tabaira Yaira, Wakalahaba, Talahat, Hayam, Kantar Datma, Basairika, Wabasa Wapatka, Tabalaham, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Samka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabahalwa, Ayad, Wayakaparwa, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kayata, Samka, Yahawa, Lapatka, Al Yawan, Al, Kal, Haratazar. In English, keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasha'Allah may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. Doing to them is unto the Midianites, and to Sisera, and to Jabin at the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zei. Yea, all the princes as Zabah, and as Salmon, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my There we go. I said a whole bunch of really cool stuff that was really important and valuable information. No, none more so than the Lord's Passover coming up, the 56th annual Passover on April 12th in Atlanta, Georgia. Get all your necessary means in order, lodging, travel, emergency funds. Make sure you got everything lined up for the event so that you're not lacking. If you have any contributions that you can make for somebody else who may be falling behind, let the school know. Otherwise, if there's any assistance that you need, again, let the school know. We got Purim coming up. Biblically, it's going to be the 14th and the 15th, the 14th day of sundown to the 15th day of sundown of the 12th month. This year, it's going to fall on the 13th and the 14th of March. So get ready for that. Get in contact with the school near you and see what y'all can do together. So we are ISUPK Milwaukee. Sabbath service, we're going to be reading from Genesis chapter 47, verse 2 through 48 and 19. So that's what we got going on today. A little coffee. Phone's on mute. Mine included. Because don't nobody want to hear that shit. It's like it to them in a bummy. All right, we are good to go. So we are in Genesis chapter 47, verse 2 in the Hebrew. Wama kwataza achayewa lakak chama, it's like it, chamasha anashim wayad tazagam lapanya parai. Verse 3, wayamar parai al achayewa maha ma'ishikam wayamarwa al parai rai tazaan abadika gam anakhanwa gam abuwathyanwa. Verse 4, wayamarwa al parai, like paraiha lagawar barataza Banwa, Kaya, Ayan, Mariah, Latazaan, Ashar, Laibadika, Kaya, Kabad, it's like it, Kaya, Kabad, Haraib, Barataza, Kanaim, Waitha, Ashabwa, Na'a, Ibadika, Barataza, Gashan. Verse 5, Wayamar, Pariha, Al, Yaquab, it's like it, Yawasap, the other one. It's like it, Lamar, Abayaka, Wa Akayaka, Bawa, Alyaka. Verse 6, Arataza, Matazarian, Lapanyaka, Hawa'a, Bamayatab, Ha'arataza, Hawashab, Ath, Abayaka, Wa'ath, Achayaka, Yashabwa, Ba'arataza, Gashan, Wa'am, Yada'aith, Wayash Bam, Wayash Bama. It's like Wayash Bam. It's like that. Yeah, Wayash Bama. And Nashia Chayal. Washamatham. Sharya. Makuna. Al. Ashar Laya. Verse 7. Wayaba. Yawasa. Ath. Yaquab, Abyawa, Waya Amadhua, Lapanya, Pariah, Waya Barak, Yaquab, Pariah, Verse 8, Waya Ma, Pariah, Al Yaquab, Kama, Yamya, Shanya, Chayayaka. That's those 7 in the Hebrew, going back into the English. Again, we're in Genesis chapter 47, verse 2. So this is after, just to kind of recap on the story, this is after Joseph's family experiencing the famine in the area 20 years or so after he got, thrown into a ditch and then sold into slavery. And now his family had gotten hit by the famine, so they go to Egypt. Egypt being a staple in the world at that time, having resources in abundance, riches, manpower, an army, a government, a structured environment that was doing really well under Joseph's rule because he was second in command under Pharaoh because of his ability to interpret dreams and visions, I should say. So Joseph gets raised up a couple times. He gets raised up, he gets knocked down, he gets raised up, he gets knocked down, he gets raised, back and forth for 2 decades worth of crap that he had to deal with. But again, he's in a position of power and authority here. So his family comes to him and he's completely unrecognizable to him. He's wearing, Egyptian garbs, looking like, he would have been Hamitic or something, dark-skinned brothers, we're easy to blend into Africa. Easier than in Europe, even though at that time, Europe, different argument there, I suppose. But his family comes to him, looking to purchase resources. He's seeing that they don't recognize him, and him trying to play it off. Sends them with resources, gives them some stipulations to come back to prove that they're not spies or have ill intentions. His father doesn't like the way that sounds. He already lost Joseph, who was his favorite boy. And Joseph was requiring Benjamin, his youngest son, to be brought forth as kind of collateral, as a show of good faith, so as not to present themselves as spies or trying to sabotage. So to kind of test their good faith and sincerity. All right, bring me your youngest son, your youngest brother Benjamin. Have him here as collateral. Like if y'all good, if y'all peaceable, you ain't got no problems. Leave him here as kind of collateral. That way, I'll know that you mean what you say. Jacob didn't want to do that. Just the fear of losing another son. So then their provisions run out. They need more. They have to go back to Egypt to re-up. But Jacob knows that if I don't come with Benjamin this time, like they're gonna think something's up, because like that's what he told me flat out, that they're gonna think something's up if they don't come back with Benjamin. So they come back with him, and Joseph, he's still trying to maintain that act. He gets choked up about it, and then he finally spills the beans and comes out as their brother. So now that's out in the open, and he sends them back. And again, they brought money with them, trying to buy. Oh yeah, and then Joseph sets him up. Joseph puts one of their silver chalice in Benjamin's bag. After he sent them off again, and sends one of his men after them to kind of inquire about it. And they're pleading the fifth, they're pleading innocence. They go through their stuff. They find the silver cup in Benjamin's bag. They imprison Benjamin. Like they didn't, they didn't send him like Rikers Island and dog walk him. Again, it was all kind of a ruse by Joseph, kind of shake things up a bit. But then, finally Joseph comes clean and embraces his brothers, sends them back again with the money, with extra provisions. Let their father know that not only is he alive, that he's doing pretty good for himself in Egypt. And he talks to Pharaoh about this too. And Pharaoh sees that it's his family, and even the Pharaoh, because they were close, they were on really good terms. And Pharaoh was like, "Listen, bring your whole family. We'll give you Goshen, but we'll let y'all set up over there." They had livestock, they had food, riches. He sent them off with money. They came there with money looking to buy some stuff. He sent them back with money, and kind of flexing for his father too. Again, just to show him, like, listen, everything's good here. I'm the man in charge right now. So they're bringing the family over, and that's kind of where we are here. So just to recap, I guess, starting in Genesis chapter 47, verse 1. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, "My father, my brethren, and their flocks and their herds, and all that they have, are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen." Because Pharaoh had sent them off, like, take all the wagons you need, all the cattle you need, especially for the trip on, to and from. So that if you get hungry along the way, if you need something along the way, you'll have things with you that you ain't gotta worry about. It'll make the journey that much less stressful. So Pharaoh was down with it. So verse 2, and he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. Verse 3, and Pharaoh said unto his brethren, "What is your occupation?" And they said unto Pharaoh, "Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our father." Verse 4, they said moreover unto Pharaoh, "For to sojourn in the land are we come, and for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks." For to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. So again, they're humbling themselves to Pharaoh, as it's just kind of a customary, formality, being guests into his kingdom, into his land. And with the the generosity that Pharaoh is showing them, giving them that whole bountiful area. Goshen was some good land, good for grazing, good to raise the livestock and the cattle and whatnot. So they were getting plugged here. Verse 5, and Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, "Thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee." Verse 6, the land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if thou knowest any man of activity amongst them, then make them rulers over my cattle. So like he's about to damn near offer them a job. Like if you see that any of them are skilled in this whole shepherd business, listen, tell them to take over my cattle too. And a little I don't want to say business transaction there, but not a huge favor to ask of, I'm giving you all this land, and if these guys are good at it, my shepherds probably suck. So if your men are good at it, have them take care of my cattle also. Verse 7, and Joseph brought in Jacob his father and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Well, again, just kind of another formality, introducing the patriarch of his family to the leader of that kingdom, that nation. And Pharaoh said, verse 8, and Pharaoh said unto Jacob, how old art thou? Which brings us back in the Hebrew, Genesis chapter 47, verse 9. Well, Ya'amar, Ya'quab, Al-Parai, Yamiyah, Shanya, Magawaria, Shalashim, Wama'ath, Shana, Ma'ita, Wara'ayim, Haywa, Yamya, Shanya, Chayaya, Wala'a, Hashayagwa, Ah, Yamya, Shanya, Chayaya, Abathia, Bayamya, Magawarayaham, verse 10. Wayabarak, Yaqub, At Pariah, Wayatazah, Malapanya, Pariah. Just want to see something. Yeah, so that's Pharaoh in Hebrew. Pariah. Paraiha. Pariah. That's Pharaoh in Hebrew. Verse 11. Wayahushab, Yahusap, Ath, Abayiwa, Wa'ath, Achayiwa, Wayathan, Laham, Achzah, Baratazah, Matazarium, Bamayatab, Haratazah, Ba'aratazah. I don't know why I said it different like that. Man. Ba'aratazah. Ra'amasas, Kashar, Tazawaha, Bariah. Verse 12. Waya Kalakal, Yahusap, Ath, Abayiwa, Wa'ath, Achayiwa, Wa'ath, Kal Bayath, Abayiwa, Lacham, La Paya, Hatakwa, it's like it, Hatap. Verse 13. Walacham, Ayan, Bakal, Harataza, Kaya, Kabad, Haraib, Ma'ad, Wathala, Arataza, Matazarium, Warataza, Kanaim, Mapanya, Haraib. Verse 14. Wayalaquat, Yawsap, Ath, Kal, Hakasap. Hanama, it's like it. Hanamataza, Ba'arataza, Matazarium. Ba'arataza, Kanaim. Bashabar, Ashar, Ham, Shabar Yaham, Wayaba, Yawasap, Ath, Hakasap, Bayatha, Pariah. Verse 15. Wayatham, Hakasap, Ma'arataza, Matazarium, Slakia, Wamarataza, Kanain, Wayaba Bawa, Slakia, Wayabawa, Gal, Matazarium, Al Yawasap, La Mar, Haba, Lanwa, Lacham, Walama, Namawath, Nagadak, Kaya, Apas, Kasap. All right, that's those 7 in the Hebrew. Go back into the English. Getting smoky in here. That's that incense. Listen, shout out to Quam's Health and Wellness. If you need that incense, he got the Frank and Myrrh, the rock form, the damn, what do you call it? The resin. The resin. He's got it in the resin form. He's got the amazing facial scrub, hair and beard oils too. They got soaps, all that. Definitely something to check out. Quam's Health and Wellness. Quam's Health and Wellness. QUAM apostrophe S because it's his shit. Quam's Health and Wellness. Definitely something to check out. So we are back in the English, Genesis chapter 47, verse 9. So after Pharaoh asked Jacob, how old art thou? Verse 9, and Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of my life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. So kind of taking, I don't want to say a lower, humble approach, but more so maybe just being honest about it, saying that he's not, nearly as successful as his forefathers. Nothing in comparison to their life. Verse 10, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. So there's nothing wrong with dealing peaceably with other nations. Everybody wants to blame, and I blame Wikipedia for this. Wikipedia and the SPLC, because they own that bullshit. The ISUPK and the Commander General Yana is rebuilding the nation of Israel as instructed in the Bible. The Bible was written to, for, and about the Israelite family tree. It does include interactions with other nations that we're seeing here in the land of Egypt with this Pharaoh. But it's kind of outlining some of the limits that we should take with certain people, given events that have happened. Everybody wants this peace and love kind of facade because of how the world looks today. The world only looks like this today because of the hundreds of millions of people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, namely, that other people have murdered. Mainly Edomites, so-called white people. It's not that we lost at a game of fucking hacky sacks, lock it to the men above me for the language. It's that we were not just colonized and conquered, we were treated with cruelty and brutality. There's a difference in what the judgment of the Lord is versus what people feel should be appropriate measure of recompense or what's the word that everybody's against right now? Reparations. I don't want you goddamn reparations. We want to be left the fuck alone. Again, salaki for the language, salaki. But just to put it that straightforward, when we're trying to rebuild our culture, leave us alone. If anything, give us the resources that we would need to keep our people off of drugs. Get them off of drugs, keep them off of drugs. Get them out of prison, keep them out of prison. I think that's kind of everybody's, end goal. Nobody, criminals deserve to get punished. I think everybody would agree with that. But nobody wants to be the one pulling the, banging the gavel, pulling the trigger, throwing the stone. They don't think that's appropriate, again, because of where people are situated now. The Elamites, the East Indians, they've got their kingdom. They've got power, they've got influence, they've got authority, they've got resources. The Asians, Ammon and Moab, they've got their kingdoms. Influence, power, resources. You can't just mess with them out of the blue and can't nothing happen to you as a result. There are consequences to going to war with Ishmaelites or Arabs, with Hamites or Africans, with Edomites or white people. We don't have that security and protection. So, of course, everybody wants to talk all this peace and love shit because they're sitting on a cushion. Everything's looking good from their vantage point. Who would want to lose that? That's crazy, right? But we're seeing an interaction here where we're dealing peaceably with other nations. They're looking out for us. We're thanking them. Hell, we're blessing them. May your children grow old, die of natural causes, or live forever. You know, however that may have been. May you get richer. May you get fatter. Just because that was kind of a sign of success and prosperity. May you get all the women that you want. May you have the most fun, with your family and all these life experiences. Because they were kind to us. This Pharaoh was, at least. We're going to see another portion of this story later on. I'm not sure where it's going to happen exactly, but where there's a different Pharaoh that comes into the scene who does not act like the Pharaoh of Joseph's time. So we're going to see how that plays out. But just to be very clear, the biblical stance, the UPK stance, is that we don't take this position for no reason. Our primary focus is for our people. Our demographic, our targeted demographic is for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, first and foremost. But the events that we hold, like the clothing giveaways, the food giveaways, that is open to the public. Anybody of any nation that is in need or want of any of these resources, you're welcome to secure it. Free of harassment, free of judgment, or being stigmatized. It's just when we just want to focus on us, that there's a negative, shroud over it. People don't like being excluded. Just like if there was some popping club and you couldn't get in, well, all of a sudden the club is biased. They only let the girls with the big tits in and the ass hanging out, or brothers that got money. I can't get in, so I'm not going to this place. I don't like them no more. I'm gonna give them a -5-star review on Yelp. That's how people are treating us with this. The Bible, and every nation should be exclusive. Every nation should be, their attention should be on their people, on their family. That's completely reasonable. And if you have the resources available to help somebody else out in their time of need and you choose to do so, cool. Nothing wrong with that. Y'all need to stop being pansies about it, though. So let's continue. So Joseph blessed the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh hooked Joseph and his family up. Joseph blessed the Pharaoh. That's Hamites and Shemites dealing very civilly with each other and even giving each other favor. Verse 11. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Verse 12. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. So just kind of portioning it out, that what's appropriate for Benjamin and his family. There might have only been 3 of them. Judah and his family might have been 7. So, Judah and his family need a little bit more than Benjamin. So it's just getting split up for what's necessary to sustain each family group. Verse 13. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. It's spreading farther. It's hitting a little bit closer to home now. Verse 14, and Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Verse 15, and when money failed in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, and all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. So this is also a proof on how money isn't going to secure your future. If the Lord wants to strike the land with a famine, he's going to do it. And there ain't shit that you can do about it. So we're seeing them, preparing for, right, I guess, mitigating these events, and just kind of dealing with it as they come. So now everybody's looking at Joseph because, again, he was kind of the man, and he was the individual that Pharaoh left in charge. So Pharaoh's not going to deal with it. But this is kind of Joseph's responsibility because of his office in that land. So now going back into the Hebrew, Genesis chapter 47, verse 16. Well, Ya'amar, Yahwasap, Habuah, Makwanayakam, Wa'athana, Lakam, Bamakunayakam, Apas, Kasap. Verse 17. Wayabayawa, Makunayakam, Yawasap, Wayathan, Laham, Yawasap. It's like, Laham, Yawasap, Laham, Basawasim, Bamakuna, Hatazaan, Wabamawaquan, Slack it, Wabamakuna, Habaqua, Wabachamaryakam, Slack it, Wabachamaryam, Waya Nahalam, Balacham, I don't know why that keeps on going out. Salaki. They're not really positioned to, they're not really grouped together to serve the land. They're kind of living off the land and, trying to make ends meet with the resources that they accumulated in that city, in that area. But now again, the famine hit, and now they're looking to the government, so to speak, for aid because that's their land. The famine is stricken their land. What the hell are they supposed to do? So they go to Joseph, and they go to Pharaoh. They're depending on the Egyptian government to kind of get them out of it. It's damn, what was that? Shit. When America had that depression or recession, the bailout. They're looking for a bailout. So Joseph did give them one in exchange for, because first it was their money. Listen, give me collect the money from everybody that needed, the bread and whatnot. But that ran out. It's like, where was it? Verse 14, and Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. So they bought all the corn. He brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Canaan, in the land of Egypt, and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph, saying, "Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth." Like, we put in on this, but it's not. We're not seeing the return. We're not seeing the return on this. So what's up? And now the next measure after that, listen, give me your cattle, give me your cattle. And in return, since the money couldn't cover it, it was the cattle in exchange for the bread now. Well, horses too, and for the flocks, and for the cattle, the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with the bread for the cattle for that year. But that even failed now, and still ran through it. The famine wasn't over. Now again, they're looking to him. So we are in verse 20. Yeah, verse 16, my fault. And Joseph said, "Give your cattle, and I'll give you cattle." When he failed, damn. Oh yeah, and then they offered up their selves and their land to work the land in servitude of Pharaoh, essentially. So they're all kind of becoming servants of Pharaoh to make Temple Abdul Azim. The Bible is a book of lies and deception. Only empty-headed dreamers follow that corrupt book of filth. If you want truth, read the Holy Quran and accept Muhammad, the last and final messenger. I bet he just jumped in and out with that. All right, so I'm not even gonna highlight, dude. But that's kind of that coward's way. You're not even gonna stay for the rebuttal. Temp Abdullah Azim, if I'm pronouncing that right, Azim. If you're still here, throw a 1 in the chat. If that's where you want to go with the conversation. This is the Sabbath service too, though, so don't expect a back and forth. Maybe afterwards, if you wanted to stick around, we can. All right, there you go. You're still here. So now, if you want an answer to that accusation that you had tossed out, you'd have to wait till the end of Sabbath service, or join us on a different class, unless you just stop by to drop that bullshit and then you want to be on your way out, which is fine too. That's your prerogative. Got no problem with that. We're not going to take you serious anyway, but please finish. All right, my man, stay put. All right, so we are, where is it? All right, verse 20. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. So he's buying all their individual parcels in their land for Pharaoh. So now that land is going to be under Pharaoh's authority. property of Egypt, not just that individuals anymore. It's going to kind of, it's going to be what's it called? And now the people are going to be working on that land, not only to gain a little bit of, resource and sustenance back for themselves, but also to build for Egypt. Verse 20, and Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. Verse 21, and as for the people, he removed them to cities from end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. So now he's kind of remapping, rezoning everything. Verse 22, only the land of the priest bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned to them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. Wherefore they sold not their land. So the priests were kind of exempt from this interaction. They were still going to get fed no matter what, because they were priests to Pharaoh. Verse 23, verse 22 was the end of those 7 verses. Going back into the Hebrew, Genesis chapter 47, verse 23. And just so you know, too, we're going to be reading Temp Abdul, if you're still here. We're going to be reading until Genesis chapter 48, verse 19. So we still got a ways to go. If you want to stop back in, if you don't want to sit through the whole thing, that's fine. But if you want to stop back in a little bit, that's awesome. So Genesis chapter 47, verse 23. Well, Ya'amar, Yahweh oh, Hayam. It's like a Hayma, Han, Quanayathia, Athakam, Hayawam, Wa'ath, Adamathakam, Laparai, Ha'a, Lakam, Zarai, Wazaraitham, Ha'adama, verse 24. Okay, so y'all got my babies too, doing my holy Quran. Along my holy Quran, I'm actually following along with you. All right, no sweat, man. If you don't mind me asking too, what ethnicity are you? Are you an Ishmaelite? Are you Arab? Or are you a brother that just ascribes to Islam? When I say brother, I'm referring to so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians on your father's side. If you don't want to answer that question either, that's fine too. It's not going to make any difference. Verse 24. Verse 24. Wahaya. Bathab Bawa'ath. Wanatha Thumb. Chamayashiyath. La Pariah. Wa'arabai. Hayadath. Yahaya. Lakam. Lazarai. Hashada. Wala Akalakam. Wala Ashar. Babathikam. Wala Akal. Latapakam. Verse 25. Waya Marwa. Hakayathanwa. Namataza'a Khan. Bayanya. Adanya. Wahayayanwa. Abadium. La Pariah. Verse 26. Wayasham. Atha. Yawasha. Lakat. Lachat. Aid. Hayawam. Hazaa. Ail. Adamath. Matazarium. La Pariah. La Hamash. Rakwa. Adamath. Hakahanyam. La Badam. La'a. Hayatha. La Pariah. Verse 27. Verse 27. Wayashab. Yasha'ala. Ba'rataza. Matazarium. Ba'rataza. Gashan. Waya Achazwa. Baha. Waya Para. Waya Slakia. Waya Rabua Slakia. Waya Para. Waya Bara. Waya Rabah. Ma'at. It's like Ma'at. Verse 28. Waya Chaya. Yaikwa. Barataza Matazarium. Shabai. Aisharat. Shana. Waya Haya. Yamya. Yaikwab. Shanya. Ha Yayawa. Saki. Chayayawa. Shabai. Shanyam. Wa Rabayim. Wa Ma'ath. Shana. Verse 29. Waya Kwaraba. Yamya. Yasha'ala. Lamwath. Waya Kwara'a. Labanwa. Yaik. It's like it. La Yawasap. It's like it. La Yawasap. Waya Mar. Lawa. Amna'a. Matazatia. Khan. Bayanyika. Shayam Na'a. Yarka. Fachath. Yarakia. Waishiyath. Amaria. Chasad. Wama. Al Na'a. The Quabaranya. Bamatazarian. Let's those 7 in the Hebrew back into the English. Genesis chapter 47, verse 23 through 30, or through 29. Verse 23. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day in your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. So that was the exchange that they had. He's Arab. He's in the UAE. Now our video just appeared on my recommended video, so I clicked on it. Sorry for being aggressive. Listen, we don't care about the aggression. This is the ISUPK, the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Aggression is our bread and butter. It's just your abrupt approach that's just going to determine the interaction. We wouldn't care either way. If you want to be cool about shit, that's fine also. But if you're looking for smoke, we are right here. Now you know our channel. Any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to jump in. But just again, this is a Sabbath service, not meant for the back and forth as such. But we got UPK Milwaukee, we got classes Monday through Friday. We got I think the podcast restructuring that. So for tonight, if you wanted to subscribe to the channel, tonight I believe we're redoing the podcast for Saturdays instead of Sundays. So you can check that out also. I think you should be. We're men. Men should be aggressive when the appropriate time is. Am I a Jew? If you're a Jew, I'll be very aggressive. But if you're not a Jew, I'll be courteous. Nigga, I am an Israelite. So if you want to use the term Jew to canopy all of Israel, we can do that too. Otherwise, Jew would just be confined to the southern kingdom or just to the tribe of Judah, depending on the context. But you could use Jew to envelope all of Israel. I'm not a small hat though. With the crazy sideburns, I'm not there. We ain't them Israelis that are out there unaliving Palestinians. We are the Israelites of the Bible. Again, today you would recognize them as so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, predominantly in the Western Hemisphere, even though our people are scattered abroad. But we are the Shemites of well, there's a lot of different Shemitic nations, so I can't just say that. We are the Israelites of antiquity. Not them. Well, sometimes they got big ass hats too, them big old fluffy things. I think that's more of kind of like a Russian Yugoslavian style. But normally you'll see them, they got this on. They got one of those. We're not them. We're not those people. But be as aggressive as you want, or be as courteous as you want. I'll match you either way until you say something nuts. Yeah, the small hats. I hate them too. we got something in common there. I hate what they've done to my people. I hate what they've done to people in general. There's no reason why they should be in power. Just how would I say it? According to God, they will get removed from power. They are in that position right now because they did a whole lot of corrupt, crooked shit to get there. They had to unalive a whole lot of people to get that status. They're about to receive judgment for that. So I'm with you on that one. Damn them fake Jews. All right, we can at least agree on that. No sweat. All right, so back into the English. No, back into the Hebrew. No, Salaki, be all right. So we are in the English. Genesis chapter 47, verse 23. Joseph bought the people, the land for Pharaoh, verse 24. And it shall come to pass in the increase that you shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for the seed of the field and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. So he's telling them, listen, even though we bought y'all as servants for Pharaoh, and we bought your land in service of Pharaoh, y'all keep 4/5 of it. You give 1/5 of it, up to the government. You give 1/5 of it up to Pharaoh. The other 4/5, you use that to maintain your family, your little ones, what does it say? Yeah, so for the seed, so that you can replenish, and for your food, and for them in your household, and for food for your little ones. So he's making sure that they have enough, that they're not just working, for nothing. Like, this isn't sharecropping. The way that they did sharecropping was completely biased. It was completely one-sided. It was overwhelmingly, to serve the people that could profit off of it, and not the people that worked and toiled for it. So Joseph is making sure that they have enough to sustain their family, if they have servants of their own, to make sure that everybody in the household is maintained, is fed, and for the little ones too. The little ones that can't do shit. We got a house full of nieces and nephews. They don't do nothing. Love you guys. They don't do nothing. They're lazy little bums, right? I'm just playing. But they're in that time of growth and development. They need those nourishments, to grow strong and healthy. So he's making sure that their kids are secured. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, this is a Shemite looking out for Hamites, and there's probably other family groups in there as well. They probably weren't all just Hamitic tribes in Egypt. But we're seeing the civility between Joseph and the people that he's over. In verse 25, and they said, "Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." So again, it was a mutually beneficial agreement that they had made. So people want to talk about slavery, servitude in the Bible. This is an example of how one would willingly put yourselves into that position because of the famine, because of the resources that you need. And it's mutually beneficial, given the social structure in this area at that time. Verse 26, and Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt until this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. So again, the priests that were ministering to the Egyptian, to Kemetic sciences or Egyptian or Hamitic spirit, African spirituality, all that jargon. They were exempt from this kind of from this deal. They didn't have to give up their land. They didn't have to work the land for Pharaoh. They already had their provisions secured for them. Verse 27, and Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. So again, because of the deal that was struck and the Lord's favor with them, I'll say that too. Verse 28, that they had multiplied exceedingly. Verse 28, and Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. Verse 29. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph. And again, Israel being another name for Joseph. Joseph getting ranked, getting ranked up essentially to Israel. Yashala, getting old. He's about to croak. So he called his son Joseph and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put I pray thee thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt. So now he's just given his last will and testament, more or less. Verse 30, but I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt and bury me in the burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. So Joseph about to honor his father, vowing. Well, it doesn't say here vowing, but let him know that he's gonna do what he had asked of him. So that's those 7 in English. Back into, what do you say? Temple Duel. People of Europe hate them small hats. People of Asia hate them. People of South America hate, etc. But they own all military and political institutions of almost all their nations. And that's why the so-called white man, the Edomites, have to be destroyed. Look at the problems they cause everybody. And they didn't have to do it like this to be successful. But that's their nature. What's the Bible say about them? Murderers from beginning. They're liars from the beginning. That's just them. But no, I completely agree with you. They making war with everybody. Don't nobody like them. Read up on why Arabs and then Germany expelled them. They undermine the Subwest and subvert their host nations. Germany immediately retaliated for the corruption. They were subversion. That's the history behind the Holocaust. It wasn't just a bunch of innocent people getting rounded up. Germany had a legitimate ought against those fake Jews, against those. They weren't even Israelis at the time because they didn't have that plot of land then. But yeah, Germany, like they had a legitimate beef with them, and that's just white on white crime. What happened there? Don't nobody want to talk about that. That's just white people beefing with white people. But I completely agree. They had. There were some dirty deeds that these people were doing that gained them that stigmatism, from the other nations around them that try to help them. Some people even try to help them, and they still stab in the foot. Like America, was damn near at the rule of blackmail under these fake Jews, which is why America got so heavily invested in it. Part of the backstory there, not the whole thing, but no, I can, we read up on this before. Absolutely. Going back into the Hebrew now, Genesis chapter 47, verse 31, and then jumping into 48 through 1 through 6. So Genesis chapter 47, verse 1. Wayamar Hashabai Laya Wayashabai Lawa Wayashatha Slakia Wayashathawa Yasha'ala Al Ra'ash Hamatah. Genesis chapter 48, verse 1. Wayahaya Atharya Hadabaryam Hala Wayamar Layawasap Hana Abayaka Kala Wayakwak Wayakat Ath Shanya Banywa Amawa Ath Manasha. It's like Ath Manasha Wa'ath Aparian. That's Ephraim, by the way. Verse 2. Wayagad. It's talking about the tribe of Gad. Laikwa is Jacob. Wayamar Hana Banaka Yausap Ba'a Ayaka Wayatha, it's like Wayatha Chazak, Yasha'ala, Wayashab, Ayel, Hamata, verse 3. Wayamar, Yaikwa, Al Yawasap, Al Shadia, Bar, it's like Nara'a, Al Ya, Balawaz, Barataza, Tanaim, Wayabarak, Athia, verse 4. Wayamar, Al Ya, Hananya, Maparak, Waha Rabayathak, Wanathathayak, Lakwahal, Haimayam, Saka, Aimayam, Wanathathya, Harataza, Hazaath, Lazaraika, Acharyaka, Achazath, Slaki, Achazath, Iwalam, verse 5. Waitha, Sanya, Banyaka, Hanawaladium, Laka, Barataza, Matazarium, Aid, Baya, Ayaka, Matazariuma, Laya, it's like Layaham, Aparium, Wamanasha, it's Ephraim and Manasseh, Kara Waban, Washamawan, that's Simeon, Yahayawa, Laya, verse 6. Wamawaladthaka, Asar, Hawaladat, Akayaham, Laka, Yahayawa, Al, Sham, Akayaham, Ikwarawa, Banakalatham. It's those 7 in the Hebrew, going back into the English. Genesis chapter 47, verse 31 through Genesis chapter 48, verse 1 through 6. Genesis chapter 47, verse 31. And he said, swear unto me, and he sware unto him, and Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. So that's damn near him dying. Yeah, they opened up gay clubs, transgender clinics, pushed abortion and gender confusion. Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. The mustache man, YouTube rule comments with his name, yeah, was merely a reaction to small hat degeneracy. The mustache man. I'm at to see who that's talking about. The mustache man. Oh, damn, what's his name? Not on Yahoo. I can't remember how to pronounce that shit. Glad we're on the same page with how we feel regarding them long those leeches anyway. Our nations can be separate, but coexist as inhabitants of the earth. Open the future, okay? Listen, I agree. I think everybody should be able to live that way. Within their own culture, separate from everybody else, at peace with everybody. Now, the only difference is the how would I say, the authoritative standard on earth. That needs to come from the Bible. That needs to come from the Most High God of Israel. I doubt we're going to see eye to eye on that, which again is fine, but ain't no negotiating with God. That's going to be the rulership. That's going to be the finale, and everything's going to come under the authority of the Most High and the Most High in Christ, with Israel as the the upper class citizens, so to speak. So under the authority of the Most High in Christ through Israel. Genesis chapter 48, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Verse 2. And one told Jacob and said, behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. Verse 3. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. Verse 4. And said unto me, behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make thee of a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. Verse 5. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee in Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So he's telling them his sons, Ephraim and Manasseh being the older one, Ephraim being the youngest, are going to be like he's going to consider them as close to him as his own two boys. So his grandkids are going to be as close to him as his own two boys, Reuben and Simeon. They shall be mine. Verse 6. And thy issue with thy begettest after them shall be thine, and shall be called after the name of their brethren and their inheritance. So he's giving this blessing unto that whole family too, letting them know, like, not just your sons, but their sons and their sons after them are going to share in this blessing, in this covenant. The same covenant that the Most High had given to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to get at his people. So going back in to the Hebrew, Genesis chapter 48, verse 7. Wa'anya, Baba'aya, Mapadan, Matha, Arya, Rachal, Baratazah, Kanaayin, Badarak, Bayawad, Kabarath, Aratazah, Laba'ah, Aparya, Slakit, Apartha, Wa Sham, Da Badarak, Aparath, Hawa, Bayath, Lakam, verse 8. Wayara, Yasha'ala, Ath, Banya, Yawasap, Wayamar, Maya, Allah. Verse 9. Wayamar, Yawasap, Al, Abaya, Abayawa, Banya, Ham, Asar, Nathan, Laya, Alaayim, Bazah, Wayamar, Kacham, Na'a, Aliyah, Wa Abarakam. Verse 10. 13. Verse 10. Wayanya, Yasha'ala, Kabadwa, Mazakwan, La'a, Yawakal, Larawath, Wayagash, Atham, Ayuwa, Wayashak, Laham, Waya Chabakwa, Laham. Verse 11. Wayamar, Yasha'ala, Al Yawasap, Ra'ah, Panyaka, La'a, Palalathia, Wahana, Hara'ah, Athia, Alahayim, Gam, Ath, Zaraika. Verse 12. Wayawataza'ah, Yawasap, Atham, Ma'ain, Barak Yawah, Wayasathakhwa, La Payawa, Aratazah. Verse 13. Wayakach, Yawasap, Ath, Shan Yaham, Ath, Aparium, Bayam Yanwa, Masha Ma'al, Yasha'ala, Wa'ath, Manashah, Basha Ma'alwa, Mayamayan, Yasha'ala, Wayagash, Ayuwa. I think I added one to the last. That's those 7 in the Hebrew and going back into the English. So Genesis chapter 48, verse 7. And as for me, when I come from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan, in the way when yet there was but a little way to come unto Ephrath. And I buried her there in the way of Ephrath, the same is Bethlehem. Verse 8. And Israel beheld Joseph's son and said, who are these? Verse 9. And Joseph said unto his father, they are my sons, whom God hath given me in this place. And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. So again, he had already mentioned Ephraim and Manasseh. So that this isn't him in his old age, like who the heck are these guys? But kind of how I think any grandparent, any cousin, any aunt or uncle, might look at the little ones of your family and kind of in an effectual manner, like, oh, like who is these guys? Still has that modern connection, that modern atmosphere to it, on how we would kind of relate to each other. Some of the things that happened 2,000, 4,000, 6, 8, 10,000 years ago, human interactions don't get outdated. Affection doesn't get outdated. Certain approaches or customs might change throughout the years, but having again, just that human experience, that's something that we kind of all share. That never goes, that never expires. Verse 8. No, verse 9. Yeah, verse 10. Slaki. Verse 10. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Verse 11. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath showed me also thy seed. Verse 12. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself unto his face to the earth. Verse 13. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right, and he brought them near unto him. So now we are going into the last set of verses. Genesis chapter 48, verse 14. Salakia. Yashala. That calls for a good horn. So Genesis chapter 48, verse 14 through 19. Well, Yashalak, Yashal, Ath, Yamyanwa, Wayashaf, Al Ra'ash, Aparium, Wahawa'a, Atazayar, Wa'ath, Shama'alwa, Al Ra'ash, Manashah, Shakal, Ath, Yad Yuwa, Kaya, Manashah, Abakawa, verse 15. Waya Barak, Ath, Yawasa, Waya Mar, Alahayim, Ashar, Atahalakwa, Abathia, Lapanyua, Baraham, Yetazakah. So Abraham, Isaac, Alahayim, Slacket, Alahayim, Arai, Athia, Mayawadia, Aid, Hayawam, Hazah, verse 16. Hamalaak, Hagaal, Athia, Makal, Rai, Yabarak, Ah, Hanaarium, Wayakwara, Baham, Shamia, Wasam, Abathia, Abraham, Itazakak, Wayagadwa, Saki, Wayadagwa, Larab, Bakwarab, Harataza, verse 17. Wayara'a, Yawasa, Kaya, Yashayath, Abiwa, Yad, Yamyanwa, Al Ra'ash, Aparium, Wayarai, Bayanua, Wayathamak, Aid, Abayua, Lahasayah, Atha, Ma'ayah, Ra'ash, Aparium, Al Ra'ash, Manashah, verse 18. Wayamar, Yawasa, Al Abaywa, La'a Khan, Abiyah, Kaya Zaha, Habakar, Shayam, Yamyanaka, Al Ra'ashwa, verse 19. Wayaman, Abaywa, Wayamar, Yadaithya, Banya, Yadaithya, Gam, Hawa, Yahaya, Laim, Wagam, Hawa, Wagadal, Wawalam, Chaiwa, Akutan, Yagadal, Amanwa, Wazaraiwa, Wayahaya, Mala'a, Hagawim. It's like Hagawim. So at the end of those verses in Hebrew, back into the English, Genesis chapter 48, verses 14 through 19. And Israel stretched out, so now he's about to embrace Manasseh and Ephraim, Joseph's two sons, Manasseh being the older, Ephraim being the second born, and these are the two kids that he had gained in the land of Egypt. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. So he knew what he was doing. So he crossed over. So you have Manasseh over here, and how it describes it in and Joseph took both Ephraim in his right hand, toward Israel's left hand. So Ephraim would have been over here, and Manasseh would have been over here. Because normally, like your right hand being like the power, just your dominant hand in general. So he was anticipating Manasseh to be over here, Ephraim over here, to give the charge to the oldest and then the youngest, because that's where Joseph had put them. He put Manasseh here in front of he put Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and Ephraim in his left hand. So Joseph is, taking them this way. The mirror image of that would have been Manasseh being in Joseph's right, Ephraim and Joseph in Slakia. Yeah, Manasseh and Joseph's right, Ephraim and Joseph's left. Yeah, switching them around. So that, yeah, that whole switcheroo kind of thing. Oh, my fault. Yeah. So he had Manasseh in his left hand, Ephraim in his right hand. Yeah, so Ephraim would have been in front of Joseph's left, or Jacob's left, and then Manasseh in front of Jacob's right. And then he crossed his hands over. Verse 15. And he blessed Joseph and said, God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long unto this day. Verse 16. The angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless these lads, and let my name be on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Verse 17. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. Verse 18. And Joseph said unto his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. Verse 19. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son. I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. So now, if we were to identify these people today, according to agriculture, according to the history books, the self-affirmations of some of these tribes, we're going to see the so-called Puerto Ricans or Taino, Boricua, Arawak families, and Caribbean families, because it didn't just stop and start with Puerto Rico and Cuba. A lot of that area was inhabited by the, again, Boricua, Taino, Arawak families. But we're going to see today the Ephraimites being established within the so-called Puerto Ricans, and the Manassites being established within the so-called Cubans. And it's just, a crazy kind of turn of events, how if you look at their national flags, how the colors are inverted. It's the same exact pattern, just the colors are switched up. You got the blue triangle with the white star and the red stripes, the red and white stripes in the Puerto Rican flag. And then you've got the red triangle with the white star and then the blue and white stripes on the Cuban flag. You might think that that's just coincidence. Maybe that's just white people just not telling them apart. I can't remember who it said had made those flags, but it is a curious sight that them being biblical brothers chose that pattern and color. Maybe if it was a different pattern, would it have been the same way? Different colors involved, would it have been the same way? Who's to say? But this is how it turned out. There are a lot of identifying markers to show that the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. So with that, let's see. We've got a little bit of time left. So Temp Abdul, Azim. I don't know if I'm saying it right. If you're still with us, give us a one in the chat. Senpai Abdul, if you're still with us, give us a 1 in the chat. No, he said he got your kids with you. Oh, 2, 2, 1. All right, so he's still with us. So now, your opening statement. I know you said that maybe you had mistaken us for small hats, and that's why you came in, guns blazing. But now that we have a different understanding of each other, and I hope you wouldn't lose the same energy, do you still feel that the Bible is a book of lies and deception that only empty-headed dreamers follow, that corrupt book of faith or filth, Salakia? And that if we want the truth, that we have to read the Holy Quran and accept Muhammad as the last and final messenger? You still believe that, I assume? You thought I was a small hat, right? All right. If I'm being honest, and I would only expect you to say yes. I would only expect you to be honest, stick to your guns, because we're going to stick to ours. And our guns is Quran is trash. Islam is trash, just like Christianity. The Bible is solid. The records that we have is solid. Christianity messed everything up. And Ishmael not being, because it's not even Ishmael's fault either. Islam didn't come until way, way, way after Ishmael was displaced from Abraham's presence and getting passed over for Isaac. So really, this had nothing to do with Ishmael. So I don't want to necessarily blame him per se, but you being part of his lineage, prior to Muhammad, y'all had a guy for every day of the week, every day of the year. But Muhammad, having kicked it with Christians and Israelites, adopting our culture, but he was rejected from because we don't convert people. We don't convert other nations. So he was rejected, was offended by that, and developed his own. It really isn't consistent. How many authors does the Bible have? The Quran only has one author, Muhammad, by the way of all. So now that's not true. There are different versions of the Quran, isn't there? Be honest. There are different versions of the Quran, because I will openly say there are many different, there are dozens of different versions of the Bible. But if you look at the King James, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Temp Abdul, there are different versions. Even if you say there's still only one true Quran, there are different versions of the Quran. There are. It's an American lie. All right, no sweat. No sweat. Even if we table propaganda, all right, no sweat. Because there are different versions of Islam too. You have to admit that part. That's not an American lie. There are different versions of Islam, different what's the term? Denominations. There are different denominations of Islam. And there are different versions of the Quran. So the King James, Shia are heretic. See? Shia, so you're Sunni then, I'm assuming, right? You're a Sunni Muslim? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't the difference just kind of in authority on who to follow after Muhammad had died? All right, so you are Sunni. Yeah, it was kind of a political dispute on who's going to carry on the authority between who was it? Muhammad's daughter and one of his wives. But so now the Bible definitely does have dozens of different versions. The King James is the closest English translation from the Hebrew and Greek. So if you're to take those Hebrew words by their definition and context, translate it back into English, in the style of English that people were using at that time, this is the closest that you're going to get to the original records, is the King James. And I'm not talking like the new King James. I'm talking the 1611. I don't know if you can see. Well, other way. Probably can't see it that clear, but that's a 1611 edition, King James version. That's the closest and most accurate translation in English We're talking about the actual Hebrew texts themselves, man. Listen, me too. I'm talking about that. You saw me, you heard me reading the Hebrew. So now, if you look at the definitions of these Hebrew words, you're going to get in this style of English this translation from the King James. That's all that happened. So I'm talking about the Hebrew text also, and I'm also talking about the Greek texts. Because if you look at the definition of those words in Greek, try to translate that into English, that's what you're going to get is the King James. They did an excellent job of preserving the spirit of the Bible. The only kind of, I guess, mistranslations, I don't even necessarily say mistranslations, but the definitions of like spirit and ghost, for example, are used in there. Those are the actual same words for spirit and ghost. Like if you look at it like in the Greek, I'd have to actually look up what the Greek word is for it, but that Greek word for spirit is the same word for ghost. So at that point, it's just kind of interchangeable on how they want which word that Pepsi or Coke at that time. There were many anonymous authors of the books. Many of the books from Numbers to Malachi contradict themselves. There are no contradictions in the Bible, none whatsoever. There are things that people just don't understand because they're not part of the culture. If you're not an Israelite, there are certain things that you're just not going to relate to or get or understand the atmosphere of. There's situations that are very exclusive. Not to say that, 100% no other people had shared in some of these experiences throughout their life, but we're talking about some things that are very specific to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian culture. The Gospels are expectantly unreliable. I'm just saying how, because you don't have somebody that recorded the people who were recording Yahushai's life. So people that are saying that they were eyewitnesses to it, Mark 45. So even if he wrote it well after the time of Yahushai, what's the date got to do with that? That was still his lived experience that he recorded. So he could have been writing it down the whole time too. That's something else that we just don't know and can't necessarily verify. Luke is basically complete forgery. That's false. You have to show what he had copied from them. If you're going to say that he copied from Matthew, Mark, and John, what portions then? Like show me the crossover, because they do have overlapping themes and story points. But the same way, like if you were to ask me, priest and officer of 1,000 among the bar ISUPK Milwaukee, if you were to ask me what happened at the last year's Passover, the way I'm going to describe it is going to be a little bit different than, let's say, maybe a priest and officer of 1,000 Korak out there in the Pacific Northwest. His recount, it's going to have different details in it. Mine is going to have different details in it. You're going to see overlap, though. And that's what we see with the Gospels. I might just cut out there. All right, so he plagiarized from Mark, who is a dubious source to begin with. Mark and John also end completely differently. And no, not really. Not really. If you're talking about the crucifixion and when Yahushua actually gave up the ghost, you can't say that they end completely differently. Even if what they recorded don't line up, verbatim how people want them to. Because a lot of what we're talking about, a lot of the discussions is people's preference. People got a preference on how the Bible should have ended, how the Bible should have been wrote, the context in which, should have been applied. Pick up the Quran and please learn the truth. Listen, if I pick up the Quran, it's going to end with a punk kick. You understand? the Quran is trash. Muhammad was, I'm not going to use the standard trope of Muhammad was an illiterate camel jockey. Even though Muhammad was an illiterate camel jockey, he was also a swagger jacker. He was kicking it amongst Israelites, trying to be accepted amongst Israelites. That's the same thing that we see in our cities today. Is an Arab kicking it with a bunch of niggas, trying to be cool, getting rejected, and then taking his own spin, keeping Israelite flavor, but now kicking his own spin on it. We see that today in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I see that today. Right here in our neighborhoods on the north, south side, and east side of Milwaukee, and even downtown, because they kick it in our neighborhoods. Your Mohammedan types, not to say like the people that follow Muhammad, I'm just saying after that kind of character who was kicking it amongst Israelites, wanting to be accepted by Israelites, getting rejected by Israelites, but they still got the chain, they got the big t-shirts, they got the gear, they got the watches and all the bling and all the ice and all that shit, trying to be cool with brothers, trying to be relatable to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in our communities. When they go home, though, unless they got their own house, when they go home to their father's house, they don't put on that same atmosphere no more. They don't carry that same attitude. That's Muhammad. It's the most eloquently written book ever written. The most eloquently written book ever written. That was not an eloquent delivery, by the way. He was illiterate, but was able to write the Quran. I thought Gabriel wrote the Quran. I thought he just recited it and he had a scribe. I thought that's how the story goes. This only proves the Quran is a miracle. It ain't a miracle. It ain't a miracle that somebody was trying to hijack somebody else's culture. You see them small hats doing it. Dude's turban hat did the same thing. Like, we got a mitri. Arabs got turbans. They got the crown of their head covered up, even while they're reading the scriptures. We got that crown open. You see it here. We got that crown open. And our mitris, it wraps up around the head, but this part is still exposed, as is instructed to Israel in the Bible. Yeah, ain't nothing miraculous. Ain't nothing miraculous about the Quran. Gabriel, an angel, a servant of the Most High, was not about like y'all shaming the angels. Gabriel was not about to deliver. Where is it? It's like, let me look this up. There was a trap set for y'all, man. There we go. Galatians chapter 1, verses 8 through 9. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you, that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. That's Muhammad. That's what Muhammad did. And these records were available too. This history, it might not have been written down per se as such that people would have wanted to see it. Well, no, because that was, Muhammad was like 600-700. Yeah, I think he was 7th century. 1400 years ago. Yeah, he was like 7th century AD. So he had heard these records. Verse 9, as we said before, say I now again. So say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you, then we have received, let him be accursed. Muhammad is accursed, according to the Bible. You guys were too stiff-necked to accept the message. The Bible got corrupted. So just show me what was corrupted. Show me what was corrupted. Don't just say that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels were corrupted. Show me what was actually corrupted. So Allah gave the message to Arabs because they were a trustworthy people who would preserve the message. You're correct. 7th century. All right, thank you. We got Edric Sizemore jumping in. Doesn't it say in your Quran, the Surah 568, ye have not till ye observe the Torah and the gospel, and that which was revealed unto you from your Lord? Also, Surah 2 and 136 say, believe in the Bible. So he's saying the entire book. See, that's what I'm saying, Tim. You can't just say the entire book. Show me what was corrupted. You can't just say the entire book because y'all follow the book. Like what Edric just brought out. Y'all follow the Torah. You follow the Torah. You follow a lot of the Old Testament. You even agree with a lot of the New Testament. You just say this and this and this isn't valid. But you can't show me what it is. Who said, yes, but read the context. This was before they were corrupted. Before they were corrupted. Again, show me when and where the Bible is corrupt. That's all you got to do. And now to one of your points, that we were a stiff-necked people, which is in the Bible, that Israel is a stiff-necked people, absolutely, to accept the message. The Bible got corrupted, so Allah gave them the message to the Arabs because they were a trustworthy people who would preserve the message. At that time, the Arabs worshipped a God for every day of the year. Muhammad had to negotiate with them to accept his form of this religion, this newfound Islam, and he had to keep the Kaaba stone, which was one of their deities, which was one of the Arab idols at that time. He had to negotiate and keep the Kaaba stone in order to get the bulk of them Muslims to follow suit. So you can't tell me that, just, the Arabs were such a trustworthy people. Then what did the Bible say? No. That dumb stone. That dumb stone. That dumb stone. And then even Arabs want to try to argue that the Bible is referring to the Arabs when it said that and I'm paraphrasing, that the Most High was going to bring us to jealousy by a foolish nation. If you're saying here that the Arabs were such a trustworthy people, but they were counted as a foolish nation that had a different God for every day of the year, that Muhammad had to negotiate and compromise to, he had to keep the Kaaba stone as part of the tradition, the culture. He had to keep the Kaaba stone as part of the culture in order to get the bulk of Arabs to accept what he was trying to introduce, which is just a watered down version of Israelite culture. I gotta go. I wanted to debate. No, you was trash. You was trashed. I wish you well. Hey, no sweat. I don't wish you no harm. Just goddamn Islam. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and Muhammad was his final messenger. Allah, Muhammad, ain't your shit. Trash the Quran, trash Islam, and so on and so forth with the expletives and derogatory terms that could be applied to Islam, Muhammad, and the Muslim ideology. That I could say that there's a long list of it. We're not going to go through all that right now. I think I even have it alphabetically ordered, but we're just gonna, for the viewer's sake, we're just gonna skip over that right now and just say goddamn Islam. Allah ain't the Most High. Muhammad wasn't shit. He was a swagger jacker who got rejected and then got salty about it. That's all that was. This wasn't, and if you thought this was a debate, I don't know if you're still on here, Tim, but if you thought this was a debate, I'm sorry for you. But if you'd ever like to set up an official debate, definitely contact us. You see the number on the screen. You definitely contact us. We can definitely set up a formal debate. Captain Debar Moth would have a field day with you. But you said you're in the UAE anyway. You're not even from this area. So might not be a fruitful argument. But if you're still in the chat, if you'd like to set up a formal debate, because this was not a debate, you didn't win shit. But yeah, still, I don't wish no harm to nobody that said some words in a group chat online. But just get ready. Get ready for what's to come. So with that, unless there are any other questions, comments, or concerns, Edric Sizemore, appreciate your contributions. I don't know if you're still in here, but here we go. I'll school you again. You didn't school, dog. You flunked. You flunked. You can't school. You flunked. And set up a formal debate. Definitely set that up. Just say when you want to go to school, my friend, and I'll be happy to teach you. Listen, just call the number. Call the number. We'll set it up with the school, and then we can get that kicked off later on. But you don't know what you just set yourself up for. Bless your Christian heart, Temp Abdul Azim. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Is it Azim? Am I saying that right? Azim? 5-star, no dropout. I don't know what the hell that's supposed. I've seen Sakgor Muck. All right, Azim. All right, that's what's up. All right, Temp Abdul Azim. Appreciate your interactions. Not that big of a deal. Again, we're just exchanging here, so nothing too crazy. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. With your family and all that. 5-star, no dropout. I don't know what the hell that means. Sakgor Muck. That's what I'm gonna call you. Muck. I'm gonna call you Muck. Coward, just because I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying, man. I feel like not Cat Williams. The other brother. Kevin Hart. I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds disrespectful. You're a school. We are a school. That is correct. 5-star, no dropout. Yes, we are a school. 5-star, 100 stars. 100 stars. Unfuckwittable. Sakgor Muckcower. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. If you don't mind me asking, what's your ethnicity? What's your background? Are you what we would identify as a so-called Israelite, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian on your father's side? Sakgor, because that almost looks like not Polynesian, maybe Vietnamese, Korean, Thai. Sakgor Muckcower. Sakgor Muckcower. I guess that could be Hamitic, African. India. Oh, okay. All right. So you're an Elamite. So biblically, we would define you as an Elamite. And you agree with our stance? We'll set up a debate. I'll have my Quran, and I'll be teaching you and all the viewers that Islam is the only truth, and Muhammad was the last and final messenger. Good luck. Good luck. You're reaching. I'm letting you know. But I appreciate your candor and your decorum. I think that's an honorable enough stance and delivery too. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Yeah, man, be cool. Man, fuck Muhammad. Just like to tell the man above me for the language. Unfolding day, I don't know what that means. From India. But listen, the Sakgor Muckcower. Listen, side note, if you could tell who said just whoever answers the phone. We got brothers, in that office. What is your name and title for the my man? I am priest and officer of 1,000 among the bar ISUPK Milwaukee. So whoever answers the phone when you call, that's who you're going to deal with. They'll instruct you, later on how to get this set up. Yeah. Unfolding day. Sakgor Muckcower. Listen, tell your cousins, tell your aunts and your uncles, stop calling me. Take my name off of their call list, please. Listen, while I was doing the Sabbath service, I think I got about 6 phone calls from scams. Please, if you've got any influence over these people, I ain't even trying to be funny right now. I don't know how this keeps on happening, but please tell them to stop. India is filthy pig country, says Temp Abdul Azim. India is filthy pig country. I've never been there myself, so I don't know, the state of affairs out there. But I'm sick and tired of scams. Sick and tired of the scam calls. Leave me alone. Leave me the hell alone. And with that, we're gonna get into these prayers. Close out. So I'm Mayim, which means stand. Upon your awkward thumb, turn to face the east. There's the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. You can find it in Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemai, Kodash, Hayat, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakutka, Tabaha, Watazaka, Hayat, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayat, Bashemayim, Nathanganawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Basalaknanawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasawan, Abal, Habashanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watapara, Lawalamian, Aman. In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Pray for the Hakak, the power in Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Babu Kasha, the thunder now. Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal Makala, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, Lataha, Hamatazarian. It's like a Hamatazarian. Hakak, Lahaquium, Amatium, Hakak, Arakawat, Hatama'ala, Lagarsan, Bashim Yahushai, the Wat Aman. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. Pray to bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabayat Taparium, Bashim Yahushua, the Wad Aman. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, bless us and Yasha'ala, and the school. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so big. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharium, Mayan, Yala'a, Azaria, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Warataza, Ayatan, Lamawak, Ragoka, Alyanawam, Shamaka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayasan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamaka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyah, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wa Yarak, Bala Yalak, Yahweh, Yashamaka, Makar Rai, Yashamar, Afnapaska, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaaka, Wabawaka, Maita, Wa'ad Awalam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. Even when I suffer thy foot to be moved, he that keepeth thee when I slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'ala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahim, al damyal laka, al tacharash, wa al tashakwa, al kayahana, al yabika, Yahama Yawan, wa mashanayaka, sha'awa ra'ash, al aimika, ya'ariyam, sawa, wa ya tazwa, al tazapawanyika, amarwa, lakawa, wanakakidam, magawi, wala'a yazaka, shamya sha'ala, awa, kaya, Nawa atazwa, laba, it's like la, yakhadwa, alika, baya, yakuratwa, ahalia, arawam, waya shemaya layam, mawaaba, bahagari, gabal, wamawan, wamalak, parashat, amyushabia, tazawa, gamashawa, nalawa, imam, haywa, zarwai, labanya lawa, salat, aisha laham, kamarian, kasiya sara'a, Kayabian, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nasamaru, Bayan Daara, Haywa, Daman, Ladama, Shatama, Nadaya Muwa, Kaira, Wakizaaba, Wakzaba, Waktazamana, Kal Nasakamu, Asha, Amarwa, Nairasha, Lanawa, Ah, Nawa, Alahain, Alahaya, Shatama, Kagagala, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Ka'ash, Taba'ayra, Yaira, Wakalahaba, Talahat, Haryam, Kantardama, Basairuka, Wabasawapaka, Tabalaham, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Samka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabaharwa, Ariai, Wayakaparwa, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kayanta, Samka, Yahawa, Labadka, Ariyawan, Al, Kal, Harataza. In English, keep not thou silence, O God, or not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Abdul, if you're still paying attention, Abdul, if you're still here, I want you to hear this part. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make the nobles like Goreb and like Zeb. Yea, all the princes as Zabah and as Zalmunna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God of possession. O my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill the faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded in trouble forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Prayer for the power structure in Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shah. Wameaka Allah. Walahai. Matazab Yahala Wap Yahana. Hala Wapyam. Asaranyam. Akatazayanyam. Hakaya Yolium. Wahakwatian. Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, Tawad Aman. In English, bless you Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commanding General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you so big. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Pascomatazzi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, national space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airwaves, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Causing to shake it that coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you always. So big. Start to the front. And salute the Torah. Mbadi Shabbat. Mbadi. Barak. Yahba Shem Yashabrak Yah. With that, Sabbath service is concluded. Shalom. Abdul, we'll see you. A proud descendant of Ishmael. Keep that same energy. Yes, Muhammad was definitely a descendant of Ishmael. Hey, that Shapar is the shit, man. I know y'all. I mean, y'all can't. You got your own culture. I ain't gonna try to say whatever, but yeah, that Shapar is boss. All right, we out of here. Shalom.